Hello, dear ones, and welcome to the Sovereign Sky forecast. I am so beyond excited, you have no idea. And I've got quite the task ahead of me because I have chosen to embark on truly what I know is my destiny, my Dharma, why I'm here. I had gained the perspective via my SC in my own QHHT past life regression sessions that I, as a being, was one of the founding, if you will, beings of astrology. And in learning that and ingesting the transcripts and listening to the recordings of my sessions, I have to say it just stuck with me, just and like it was like a soothing balm, if you will, of just knowing, of knowing that that is who I am. The I am. Astrology has always been something in and out of my life throughout my journey. In childhood, I was actually pretty exposed to it, but my earthly mother was not a fan and in many ways called it demonic. And so I stayed away from it. And then as I continued into my young adult years, I would pay attention to it. But funny enough, I had these very strong opinions. So I am in tropical, a Taurus sun. And I always was like, okay, I'm a Taurus. And my earthly brother is a tropical Scorpio sun. And so I always told myself, okay, Taurus, needs to be with Scorpio. And my brother drove me nuts as a kid. So I don't want anything to do with, with Scorpios. And that was about the extent of it. And funny enough, my first husband ended up being a tropical Aquarius sun. And Aquarius is one of my intercepted houses in my tropical chart. So it's funny how you're drawn to the things that ultimately unlock your journey, even if you don't see it yet. And now knowing that I am also an original bifurcated twin flame who holds a monadic scroll for fusion, I have a divine counterpart who likely is a tropical Scorpio sun. So it's kind of funny how I always kind of dance around the things that we actually do. And I'm going to use this with air quotes, need. But our ego and our own individual internal journeys normally try to justify it. And this is, funny enough, one of the things that I share most frequently is that thing that drives you crazy, that thing that you don't want anything to do with, is probably exactly what you want. It's probably exactly what you quote unquote need. It's the next thing that unlocks something for you. And I think it's a subconscious thing our ego senses that it might be replaced. And so it puts up as many walls as possible and gives you all the justifications, and you believe it and you run with it. So with all this being said, I recently was called into yet another void. And for me, I will be very honest. I have learned the absolute beautiful magic of the void. I call it the void of all possibilities because literally every possibility that you could ever think of infinitely is possible only in that space. And yet it's the space that we avoid like the plague, right? We don't want anything to do with it. It feels yucky. It feels unknown. And yet that is where we connect with the next timeline. It's kind of like a catalyst, a junction box, a circuit door. It's a gateway. So with this, I reconnect, essentially remember that astrology is part of who I am and receive some of the largest downloads of my entire life experience here on Earth. I have reconnected with the esoteric teachers that are on the other side of the veil that I've worked with across timelines. And part of this was receiving the download about specifically esoteric astrology. Now, one of the leaders of esoteric astrology is a lady by the name of Alice A. Bailey. And she essentially channeled who I refer to as Master DK, who is Djwhal Khul. And he was actually a man who lived in the flesh and then spent a lot of time in the astral realms when his physical body was here. And then in departing to the other side of the veil, came back around and started basically tapping Alice like, hey, let's put together some stuff. Let's write some stuff down. Let's get this sorted. And off the top of my head, I think she had written like over 24 books. So there's a lot there. And I am still in the midst of combing through a lot of it. But Alice, and as I will refer to him, Master DK, are who I work with and who I work alongside. And as we've already stepped into the age of Aquarius, there is a lot for what horoscopes or forecasts look like that needs to shift. And Master DK talked a lot about, I'm going to give you the infrastructure, but when it gets to that age of Aquarian time, there will be those that step up and step in to their role to essentially evolve that, to bake it, let's say, into a form. And I am absolutely privileged and honored to be one of those beings. So, with this new series, I'm calling The Sovereign Sky. This is an esoteric journey. So, essentially going from exoteric, which is referring to everything on the outside, to an esoteric journey, which is going within. And as I always reflect in my Beyond the Belief podcast, you go inward to go upward. So we are shifting from outside of us to inside of us. And believe it or not, in this shift, and I will say this out loud, as I am not only reconnecting with things that I know, and I have no idea how I know them, but I know them, remembering, as I refer to it, as I remember the many things that I know. And as I shift into embodying that I am in this time-space reality. And as Mama Gaia is making her ascension to the fifth dimension, I am here to deliver these forecasts. And it's quite the feat, I will tell you. And from my research right now, I don't believe there's anyone else that is at least publicly doing this, or that I could at least find their materials. And if you are one of those people, reach out to me, please. But essentially, when we talk about forecasting, there are many different types of astrological charts, but two of the primary, let's say, lenses to look through, and as I refer to them, they're really like tape measures. Because if we look at the sky is the same. If there's a planet within 2 degrees of another planet, that is the same, whether you look through the lens of a tropical chart or you look through a lens of a sidereal chart, because the sky is the same. The only thing that changes between tropical and sidereal is basically, imagine it like a tape measure. Sidereal is roughly the difference of 24 degrees behind the tropical. And tropical is set by the earth, by the seasons, by the tilt, by the wobble, by all these things, essentially the equinoxes. Where the sidereal chart is the sky. There's no distortion. There's no tilt. There's no wobble. And what I have uncovered and connected with is that these two charts are actually what we all should receive, if you will. You should have a natal tropical chart, and you should also have a natal sidereal chart. And specifically, because there are many different sidereal charts, specifically Master DK's version, which is the 24 degrees. Now, obviously, if I sit here and talk about all the details of the charts, I will make this video humongous. So my intention is to at least introduce this to you. And I will link in the show notes to the videos that describe and go into detail about these charts, why there's two, why you should have two, what each of these look like. Because essentially what I have remembered and recalled is that we as humans here on this beautiful earth go through essentially 3 different stages, or as I refer to them as tiers. So there's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And within those, there are what I have affectionately titled and called the 6 levels of freedom. So there's 3 tiers and 6 levels of freedom, and they're all built into the same infrastructure. Master DK teaches that your horoscope should be heavily weighted on your level of consciousness, which to me, I was like, what? Tell me more. And so I have been in the midst of immersing and really re-immersing myself into this architecture. And what I'm going to attempt to do with these forecasts is essentially give you and provide you the forecast for all 3 tiers. And I'll explain them just briefly. Again, I'll put in the show notes more explanation. But you have tier 1, which is essentially the matrix. You have tier 2, which are referred to as disciples. And then you have tier 3, referred to as the initiates. So you have these 3 tiers, or 3 lenses, or 3 perspectives. But these are also 3 larger journey points. So we go from being in the matrix to reversing our wheel and stepping out of the chains of the matrix. So taking your red pill. And then stepping into your soul, your monad, your oversoul, your higher self fully. Your sidereal chart is connected to that 3rd tier. And it's the chart of your soul, the chart of the connection with the ascended masters, and the highest timeline to essentially being connected with the all and receiving. Tier 1 is about tension and friction, because as we know, tension and friction can be the building blocks to change, to mutation. Then we leverage, instead of running away from that in the matrix, we leverage that tension in tier 2. And we journey on what's referred to as the hero's journey. Hercules going through and slaying all 12 of the Zodiac monsters, if you will. And in doing so, frees himself from the matrix, from the chains. And it's called reversing the wheel because if we look at it through a tropical and matrix lens, the equinoxes move backwards. So we just went from Pisces, quote, quote, back to Aquarius. That's where the backwards comes from. And we all know that if we look at a astrological forecast, tropical, let's say, it's going to go forward, as in it's going to go from Aries to Taurus instead of Aries to Pisces. So in that tier 2, we are reversing the wheel. We are going basically with the transits, but we are reversing what are referred to as the decans. The decans of any 30-degree spread, roughly 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30. And seeing it like that in the way that the energies go, it kind of builds. So you start off with the nice part of the energy in the first decan. It's fun, it's different, it's something exciting. Then in the second decan, you start to get comfy. You don't want it to get taken away. You really like it. And your ego gets involved and is like, yep, we're not letting anybody touch this. This is mine. To the point where it hardens, it becomes crystallized. And this is where the third decan gets really painful. The intensity of the energy comes through and starts basically breaking off or breaking out the crystallization that has happened because of your ego. And so the matrix is going through this basically decan spiral over and over and over. And this is why it can feel like a lot of friction, a lot of craziness, a lot of chaos. So it's a very painful wheel. So when we transition to that tier 2, we are literally going in and reversing the wheel. So we are now, instead of going from easy to, it's getting a little more difficult, to hard mode, when it's easy, we think about hard mode. So it's kind of like reverse engineering. What do I need to do to prepare for that battle, that monster? It's very difficult in that third decan. So let's think about it now while we're in the first decan, when the energy is still light. But you start to leverage that, and as you move that in that direction. So imagine if you start at the hardest part, you stare the fear in the face. You sit with the uncomfortableness. And is it difficult? Yes. Have I gone through it? Yes. Was it intense? Yes. And what happens is that you go through all of the zodiac signs, and each of those zodiacs have monsters. So to help make this make more sense, I am literally right now finalizing a game. And imagine you're going to get like a blueprint, a map, a game board to understand your unique journey, your unique monsters. If you have intercepted houses, you have a couple more monsters. If you have any signs split between 2 houses or even 3, you're going to have a couple more monsters. Myself, I have 24 monsters, which sounds wild. But funny enough, this is all me reverse engineering. I went through it blind, not knowing any of this. And then now being able to reconcile it and like, oh, this makes so much sense. But as you go through and you basically slay all your monsters, you free yourself. And what I'm calling this game, it's called your Matrix Mansion. So you have 12 rooms. And sometimes they have multiple monsters. And I won't spoil too much of it, but essentially you incarnate into this house that you don't even realize is a house. And when you start to wake up, so you start to go on that 6 levels of freedom, level 1 and level 2 and level 3, you start to, wait a second, I think I'm in a house. And then you don't even realize that it's actually your house. And the moment that you realize that is at level 4. It's essentially that bridge. And at level 4, you then receive the full set of maps. So you receive your tropical chart if you don't already have it. And I have what's called a soul tech stack course. So there are ways to explore this, my friends, that are just beautiful. You also then pick up your Matrix Mansion blueprint and you pick up your sidereal natal chart. So these map basically your 3 tiers, these 3 sections of your journey. And I will tell you, as someone who learned the left brain ways of the world, this is how I survived. This is how I thrived, if I'm honest, in the corporate settings. But it's not the way we really are. It's just the way we learn to be. But my left brain loves to understand things and pick things apart. And so when I realized there were charts for each one of these segments of my journey, it made me so happy. Because I will tell you from experience, going through those different legs to getting to that initiate stage, it's daunting, it's huge, it's massive, it's heavy, it's a lot. But I'll tell you why it's worth it. Because once you slay all of your monsters and you step to the center of the wheel, so you don't jump off it, you just move to the center. So you are at the epicenter of the wheel. So it's still moving, but you now are not. And when you're standing at that epicenter, you unlock the front door of your mansion. So instead of being trapped in those 12 rooms, running around, putting out fires, trying to get the villains out of your house, your bad boss and your weird neighbor, they're coming over and throwing juice on the floor and ruining the furniture or what have you in your beautiful house, you suddenly slay all your monsters and the front door pops open and you are able to step outside on the gorgeous lawn where you are underneath the sidereal stars. And this, my friends, is where you receive the all. Because our journey is about going from I to we to all. We are all one. We are all connected. And being underneath those sidereal stars, you start to receive your divine blueprints, not only for yourself, but for the new earth. And instead of leveraging, let's say, in the difference between these 3 tiers, the first tier, the tropical transits, and they're against me. They hurt me. They cause me pain. I hate this. Oh my God, it's another full moon. Right? It's happening to us. Tier 2, it's happening for us. We need that friction to see things. We do. We don't like to admit it, but we really do. And because the Matrix is about fear and survival and the desperate need for predictability, literally, we leverage instead those energies to crack that open, to break it open, to finally ascend past it, which leads us to the one, to the all, to stepping into your soul blueprint, what you are here for. But instead, you're going to leverage the transits, which this time you're going to use the sidereal transits. So in that last tier is when you leverage those. And you are leveraging those energies from the stars to do the work that's needed for all of us. And how I depict it or how I see it is that you're literally helping support the matrix, the simulation, because that's how we crack out of it, find our true selves, understand who we are, see our real reflection, and simultaneously leverage those energies to build the new earth, to bring the heavens here, heaven on earth. So I'm incredibly excited to embark on this journey with you. And obviously there is a lot here that I will continue to unpack and I will continue to reference. And as I mentioned, I will put explanation videos of a lot of these things in the show notes for you so that you can check it out. But essentially what my forecasts will be. So I will do forecasts for full moons and new moons because they're bigger pivot points for different reasons. And I will do weekly forecasts. And if there are larger events or larger things that are happening in the sky, I'll probably do some for those too. But the most important thing is that I'm going to be using both charts. And this, my friends, is where I have not found someone else who has done this. Typically, those who have ascended into the esoteric astrology realm still leverage the tropical charts because at least everyone speaks tropical. Most people understand that, have seen it, at least witnessed it. But when we start getting into sidereal and the difference and why, it gets really complicated. It does. But there's a reason for it. And for me, I like a challenge. So I dive into it. And then all of a sudden I hit a gold mine. Like, oh my God, this makes so much make sense. I hope that you will join me on this journey. And I think the beautiful thing that I want to leave you with is this. The reason I'm doing the forecast together, so for all three tiers, you will hear with the same, again, remember the planets are not changing. It's just the measurements. So what'll change is the degree and the zodiac sign most of the time. Sometimes there's a little right fringe that they might still be in the same zodiac, but those two things will change. And this also changes the epicenter of esoteric astrology, which is the rays of God, the 7 rays. But I will explain these as I give the forecast, because imagine I'm forecasting on the same things that are happening in the sky, the same square, the same conjunction, the same tension or trine. I will report on the same things. But to these different tiers, you need to leverage the energy. And this is where this is different. This is not about being a victim. I often see astrology as, oh my God, this is happening. Oh my God, get your hard hats on because this is coming. Brace yourselves. It's Taurus season. Like, we're not going to talk about that because it is happening all for your highest good. If you're not ready to see it yet, then you are on the lower octaves of those levels of consciousness, of freedom, as I call them. You are likely in a level 1, 2, or 3. But the minute you hit the 3 to the 4, you are wanting and desiring more. You're probably burnt out. You're probably frustrated. You're probably like, oh, I can't do this anymore. It's like the same thing over and over. It's like the Ferris wheel. It's like the merry-go-round. I just can't get off the ride. That is when you're ready. If you found yourself here at that exact moment, hold on with both hands. Because the ride doesn't get crazier. It starts to bend your mind in ways that you never even imagined. But somehow it gives you this peace of mind in your heart that you've never felt. You've always seeked it, but you never found it until then. And I'm speaking from experience. So allow yourself to embark on this journey with me. And I would invite you to listen to a couple of forecasts because they're going to be very different. But this is about leveraging the energy for your highest good. That's okay if you're not ready to go on to the hero's journey and be in that tier 2. Maybe you're enjoying the matrix and you just need a minute. I totally understand. It might not be the right moment yet for you, and that's okay. But I will give you the forecast for the matrix in what the reality is, how the impact is felt. I will then give you the tier 2 forecast of how you can take that and alchemize it, how you can go within and find the answer, find the solution, find the connection that you're seeking in your heart. And just as an FYI, I will refer to the tier 1 humans as humanity, unawakened humanity. Tier 2 are disciples, and tier 3 are initiates. So that should make it relatively easy when I'm providing the disciple forecast, or the initiate forecast, or the humanity forecast. But you'll get to hear them side by side. And as you start to open your heart to these things, more doors will open. I'll just say it like that. That is how I experienced it. And I feel immensely honored to be able to attempt to bring those things to you. So I'm excited to kick off the first forecast, which will come right after this episode here. But truly, this is the journey. This is the place. If you are ready to step into your light, as I've now even ascended my own vocabulary. Yes, it is about shadow and light, but more so, it's about octaves. It's about spirals. Are you ascending to a higher point in the spiral or a higher spiral timeline? Or are you stuck in a loop? If you're stuck in a loop, you're likely in tier 1. You're in the matrix. But as you start to ascend, you get into that disciple tier 2. And then as you basically break free because you find the center of the circle. And now the circle is spinning around you. You connect with your highest timeline. Because if we only realize that the stars, the energy that comes from the sky, is what empowers us. It is just one thing, but it is a massive thing. And it has been leveraged for thousands of years. Thousands. by many generations of humans. This is the opportunity to see the stairway. Because I will tell you, my friends, I saw the stairway at the end. After I already ascended the thing, I turned around and then I put in or plugged in these pieces and then suddenly saw it. And I sat here, right here on this couch, just in awe. Like, you've got to be kidding me. If I would have had these tools, I will tell you, it would have made my journey a lot more cohesive. I'll just say it like that, because it's difficult. For those of you who have gone through it, you know what I'm saying. It's difficult, but it's the most freeing experience you could ever, ever, ever even imagine. And the key to it all, honestly, if I can just share this, is to let go, to stop trying to control, stop trying to hold on, stop trying to hold it all together, because you're not holding anything together. You're holding the scaffolding that is not even you. It's too small to sustain the vastness of you, of the I am. And if you let it go, let it crumble, let it finally break down so that the energy can then come back to you in the way that best serves you now, then and only then will you truly be able to step onto the stairs of that staircase. So lots more coming, including a community where we get together. And I am also going to be teaching in a couple of mystery school capacities. So there's a lot more if this interests you. But I'm so grateful that you are here with me. Welcome to the Sovereign Sky.